What I find so fascinating about ceramics is that they are so important in history. When excavations get done, the first things they find are bits of pottery. Metal corrodes, wood rots away, but ceramic always stays there. Every great culture had its own ceramic tradition. This will always remain. And it's just a beautiful material. My name is Bouke de Vries. I'm an artist. I work with damaged historical ceramics. My process starts with finding objects, and so I go around looking for things that have been damaged. I'm not smashing the things up. The fact that I'm using broken fragments seems to have a resonance at the moment. I didn't really start off thinking of it as it being about sustainability. For me, it was working with beautiful things that are regarded as worthless and giving them a future. But that seems to be fitting in with what's going on at the moment. I was born in the Netherlands and I moved to England as a student 38 years ago. Having gone to art college originally, then worked in the fashion industry and then deciding to become a ceramics restorer. I restore mainly for antique dealers, auction houses, private people, but I also work for artists. I do all the pots of Grace and Perry when they get damaged, and I was doing that for 15 years when I thought I really need to do something for myself creatively. In Holland, art is a big part of your life because we're so imbued with the golden age. You know, everybody has a still life painting, so that's just instilled in you. When I first started making my own things, I started sort of making three-dimensional still lifes after they were painted. With the bowl that was broken, probably got kicked or something like that. The fruit has decayed in it. I don't do any sketches. I just work straight from the object and it develops and it grows. My passion is more with the Oriental stuff, and that's what you find. Most of what you find is Chinese porcelain. I've always loved the technique of kintsugi. It's a way of restoring a ceramic where the repair becomes part of its history. It started in Japan, and their philosophy was that if an object is damaged, it can still be beautiful, and rather than to hide the damage, you celebrate it and you enhance it. I think we underestimate the past very much. Here in London, I work with Adrian Sassoon Gallery, and Adrian Sassoon has been invited by Sotheby's to set up a showroom in Bond Street where people can actually go in and buy objects rather than bidding for them at auction. And they invited me to design the entranceway for the gallery, and then also they'll be showing my work there. In the window there will be a map of Britain made from fragments of English pottery from Staffordshire, from Stoke-on-Trent area. And the idea was that it was such an important part of the British economy in the 18th and 19th century. But on the other hand, it's also the industry that was destroyed over the past 30 years. Using the idea of the map of the broken fragments, I decided to blow the fragments up to giant size and make it into a sort of art wage which is sort of tumbling over. And then when you go into the gallery, there's a mass of printed ceramics on the floor and then fade out into the showroom space. I'm also making some special flowers made from porcelain fragments from Chinese tea bowls. So these damaged fragments, they are growing from the ground into a new flower. And then there's a new idea where I've used tiny fragments of archaeological Delft fragments from Holland, and they're set in an acrylic resin in obelisk shape. There's a little 18th century teapot which is broken, but I've made it look like it's exploded, and it's covered in little butterflies. If you see a butterfly in a Dutch still life, that is a sign of Christ of the rebirth. And so I think my works are sort of rebirths as well, created from the broken pieces. And then there's a pair of what I call memory vessels. I find a broken vase, have an exact replica made in glass, and then the broken fragments goes inside, and so the glass becomes a ghost of its former self. I think to get asked to do something like that, it's challenging because it gives you an opportunity to try to do something different. I sometimes think, how did I think of that? All this started, for me, starting to make some things in the evenings and weekends, and the things are gradually starting to find their ways into museums. For me, this has all been a magical fantasy journey. It's kind of cool.